Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair, and welcome to our guests from RACO. Like colleagues, it's very disturbing if we have a crisis. I share the view that it's disturbing if we have a crisis of retention in the Army. It's a great difficulty. Our Irish Army is one of the great institutions of our state, to which we all feel loyal to and proud of, and which has measured up to domestic crises as they've arisen over the years, and also which has done us proud in international service and peacekeeping. But it's not enough that we acknowledge that. We have to deal with the practical difficulties that exist. I had understood, but I presume it's at officer level that we're discussing today, but I had understood that a number of allowances had been restored a few years ago, and that I had thought the October pay agreement had made some progress in 2020, but I take your point, around pay, and I hope that the Commission deals with it. You might elaborate a bit more on the pay issue. Where are you specifically talking at officer level here, or is there a crisis right through? And you might elaborate there. But I certainly think it's disturbing if you're out of kilter with other restorations of pay, and we need to be very much aware of that, and certainly it's something that the Commission on the Defence Forces would need to address. I'm very interested in the question of where your officers are going, to where, when you're not succeeding in retention, when people are leaving, where do they go? And I know you did an exit survey, and it's disturbing that 30% would not recommend a career in the Army. But you might elaborate more on where are people going, and if it's an economic pull, if it's other career options, etc. Is it all about pay? Is it lifestyle? Could you please develop that for us a bit, as to what are the factors at play there in the pull away from you? If that would be so, the kind of Celtic tiger pull from you that would have existed in the past in a post-COVID world, it might take some time to develop again. But having said that, we do need to analyse very carefully, as the Commission does, why people are leaving prematurely and why they're not proud or not recommending the service. I think it's very disturbing that the Working Time Directive has not been implemented. One would assume that that's a reform that could readily be achieved, and that there's no national economic imperative that could be argued there. That would seem to be very blatantly discriminatory and would seem to be a very internal issue, really. You might elaborate on that, at where the fault lines are there and what could be done there. The question of time off, surely time off cannot be, should not be different for Army personnel than other public servants, and you shouldn't have a difficulty there. An effort should be made to accommodate you in terms of proper time off. It's disturbing that you talk in a modern age about having problems with accommodation, that the quality of accommodation. You might elaborate a little more on that, but that's quite a disturbing one. And what's your actual statement that the naval service is set up to fail, that is a very real issue. I was disturbed again on the fact that, are you telling us that there are no replacements now of civilian tradespeople who are there, who leave, or is there a percentage replacement, or what is the issue there? We do need to restore the morale of our Army. We do need to have an Army where there's a level of contentment and pride and happiness among the membership. And that makes today's meeting very important, and the output from it. So I'd be interested if you respond again or elaborate on those. And all I can say is I'm a strong supporter of our Army. I we have had a lot of army personnel living in my county of Cavan, in both Coote Hill and Cavan Town, and indeed other areas, and they've been great members of the communities they live in, and they've been a very positive force in those communities, in the social and cultural life of those communities, and in every facet of society. But the real issue here is internal today and internal conditions. So I look forward to your responses. Thank you, and thanks, Chair.